Welcome back to Up the Villa podcast. Delighted to say I'm joined by the legend Beth from the United Stand. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me on.
Awesome. So, like always, get a real good insight about the team that we play in, Manchester United, and your thoughts on Villa this season. So, how has United's season been so far?
I mean, I think from an outside looking in, you can see it's been a pretty poor season for us. It's been really poor. It's been so inconsistent, but also at the same time, to contradict myself, like consistently poor. So it's been bad for us. I think in terms of what we did last season compared to this season, we've gone backwards. Last season, we thought we were starting to build something under Erik ten Hag. This season, we've not been able to string a run of results together, and our style of play just hasn't been there at all. There's not a positive in terms of results, but there's also not a positive in terms of where we can see the project going in the style of play. The one little silver lining is that the last few games, Ten Hag has had his strongest team on paper available to pick from. He's been making the excuse of injuries all season, and we've actually played some good football. And you can now see maybe a direction that he wants to take this team and the project he wants to build with this set of players. But Martinez, who's so important to that, has just got injured and will be out for 2 months. So we'll have to wait and see. I think Ten Hag is over reliant on a few players, and we've been missing them through injury. So it'll be interesting to see if he can build off that into the rest of the season.
Yeah, so he has been there quite a while now. So what would you say he's trying to do? Because as a Villa fan, when I watch Manchester United, I sometimes struggle to see what type of team you are. Like are you possession based? Do you want to be counter attacking? So as a United fan, what is the style meant to be?
The fans of Man United also feel like we don't know really what style and what direction Ten Hag wants to go in. I would say, based off what he seems to play when he has his strongest team available, I do think he wants to dominate possession, but he also wants to be focused on winning back transitions and being a threat in the transition. We have improved massively when it comes to pressing the opposition off the ball, and it's interesting because I assume we'll go to Villa Park and play counter-attacking football because you play a high line, and that's a lot of our forwards, bread and butter. We love to play counter-attack, but then there'll be games like the West Ham game where we really do take the game to West Ham and we try and play that possession-based football. I think a lot of it does come down to massively who the team we're playing against. Is it going to be a low block? Is it going to be somebody that comes at us? And it differs on that. But in terms of a style of play, it's hard to say it. But over the last couple of games, we have tried to keep the possession. The fullbacks are really crucial into coming into the midfield, underlapping, overlapping, and helping kind of create them overloads. But it is tough to see what direction we're going in it. He does want to play high turnover, high press football. We saw that earlier on this season. We got absolutely demolished. We sort of started to see it creeping again. It's just whether he can make it work in the Premier League. I think the one thing that is helping him now is, before, when he was trying that, he was doing it with a midfield of McTominay, Eriksen and Bruno. It's just not good enough. Like, there's just not enough stability in there. Now he's got a base of a midfield of Casemiro and Kobe Mainoo, which are two defensively aware players. Ten Hag's only played with one defensively aware midfielder for most of the season. We've got killed in the midfield. It's starting to look a little bit better. Now we've actually got two players in there that are defensively aware. So it's about the balance, really.
Yeah, it's starting to look better. But off the pitch, you've had Sancho, Rashford in the press recently.
It's like a soap
still
opera, isn't it?
Yeah. So, what's gone on there? What happened with Sancho?
Sancho is Sancho with Jadon Sancho. The bottom line of it is that what we've heard and what we've been told is that he'd been late to training quite a few times. His training standards weren't to the level that Ten Hag wanted them to be. There'd been a lot said behind the scenes before it all came to a head in the media. And realistically, I don't think Ten Hag called him out in the media. He got asked against Arsenal, why wasn't Jadon Sancho in the squad? And he said, because at Man United you have to be training at the highest level every week, and he didn't meet the training standards this week. And what was he going to do? Lie and say he was ill? It's a tough one. So he said that. Sancho immediately, which I think was a massive mistake, came out like 20 minutes later with this statement on Twitter, which just didn't go down well, because he basically accused Ten Hag of being a liar and of him being used as a scapegoat, which isn't going to go down well. Ten Hag interpreted that as Sancho was calling him out publicly, therefore he wanted a public apology. Sancho said, nope, wasn't going to happen. So what happened is Jadon Sancho then wasn't allowed in the first team building, and he trained in the academy building for a few months, I think a couple of months until he got his move to Dortmund. But Ten Hag and Sancho are not on good terms. Before he even said anything about Sancho in the media, he's apparently showed Sancho like why he wasn't hitting the training kind of standards he wanted, and showed him videos, and Sancho just disagreed with him. So that is just, I think it's a player and a manager just not seeing eye to eye, and both of them not wanting to back down, to be honest. But I think it's a tough one, because if you're Sancho and you see an Anthony play every week, you're like, hang on a second, why can't I get a kick? Because Anthony's terrible, and I'm better than him. And I think in terms of just talent as players, Sancho is better. But then Ten Hag's so kind of set on attitude, punctuation, and what you're doing to make yourself to be the best professional. So I think it's just kind of a clash of heads there. But I do back Ten Hag in what he did with that.
Yeah, yeah. So ambitions then for the rest of the season. I mean, as a kid for me growing up, like all my mates were Man United fans, and in the Fergie era, you were, so good. But to be languishing in sixth place, isn't the United standard, is it? So what are your thoughts for the rest of the season? This is a big game anyway, because if Villa win, we go 11 points clear of you. If you win, you go 5, and you're kind of getting back to top 4. So what would you say your ambition is for the rest of the season?
It's crazy, isn't it? Like that, you could be 11 points ahead of us come Sunday, and that's a high likability, to be honest with you, especially with the game being at Villa Park. But I mean, it's tough. I think before Christmas, it generally felt like there was no hope. As a Man United fan, every game was just, even when we won them, it was poor football, like it really was, and it was frustrating. My hope with Man United just started to drop and drop and drop. I've been saying the last few weeks, I don't think there's a chance we can get top 4. I just think Villa are better than us. I think Spurs are better than us, and I think obviously Arsenal, Liverpool, and City are practically nailed on. So I just think it's really tough. I think it's even tough for us to get above sixth spot. If to be honest, the only thing that gives me like a little bit more hope is, I don't know if you've seen them, our last run of games, we've actually looked a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can keep that team fit, maybe we can kick on and get some results, and work our way back up there. I mean, the FA Cup's huge for us. It's the only competition that we're left in, and I want to get far in it. It's going to be tough with the teams that are left in there. But I think when our best team plays its best football, we're capable of getting far in that competition. I mean, I'd love to get to Wembley. I think that's a bit of a stretch, but going as far as we can in that competition, the aim should be to win it. But whether we get that far, who knows? And then in terms of the league, I don't see us being able to crack down on top 4. I just don't. I think Unai Emery's got you guys playing great football, and I think there's a confidence and belief that you're going to do it. And then you've got Spurs as well, who a lot of people say, Spurs bottle it towards the end of the season. It's very Spurs fashion, but Ange Postecoglou seems to come in and has kind of given Spurs a new direction. I just don't see it happening at the moment. But all we can do is try and catch up on the teams that are ahead of us, and win every game as it comes. And the big question is Lisandro Martinez is now out for 8 weeks. The 3 games we've had him back, we've won all of our games, and we've looked a lot better. He's so important. I always say this. It's like, Liverpool losing Van Dijk, or Arsenal losing Saliba. It's huge for us, Lisandro Martinez. No one can do what he does in our defence. So it's whether we're going to drop off because of that. But you shouldn't rest on one player. We've got Luke Shaw, Casemiro have come back, who should be making a difference. So time will tell against Villa at the weekend if we can keep it up against a team that's actually, of a very good standard. I mean, West Ham are decent, but we're away from home against a team that's fighting for top 4, so it's going to be tough.
Yeah. New ownership then. How are you feeling about that? You must be buzzing about what that can bring, moving forward.
I am buzzing about it, to be honest with you. I think every single Man United fan wanted a full takeover from the Glazers, but we have got this 25% in Sir Jim. But I think the key indicator for Manchester United fans is that he's going to have football in control, which is huge for us, because what we care about is the football and winning games. And we've been going so wrong for so many years. That's why, like you said, when you were younger, Man United were the team to be, and now we're just in such a poor position compared to what our standards should be. And that needs to change. And I think ownership is a massive reason why we're in that position. And the footballing side of things, I think the main thing where we've gone wrong over the years is, I mean, there's so many things you could name. Honestly, every department we've done it wrong. But the big one is recruitment. We've overpaid for poor players, give players massive contracts on massive wages, and not been able to shift them. We're now starting to struggle in terms of financial fair play off the back of it. I mean, we've got the biggest profit in the world, but financial fair play is starting to kick in, and this is where it comes now, where all your past mistakes are starting to impact us now. And recruitment it's been absolutely terrible, and we've had so many bad transfers after bad transfers. That needs to be sorted out. Also, just the manager to have some support regarding a sporting director, a proper CEO who knows what he's doing. We've just brought in Omar Barada from the City Group, who was head of football operations there, which was huge for us. And we're looking to actually appoint a sporting director. I mean, Pep and Klopp are so reliant on a sporting director, and we don't even have one that's functional. So there's so many things that need to change. And it's actually just come out before we've done this video that Sir Jim's looking to build a 90,000 capacity stadium in Manchester. I don't know whether that's Old Trafford being transformed or a new one. So it'll be interesting. I just hope that change starts, and I know it's going to be a slow burner. I know Rome wasn't built in a day, but as Man United fans, we're really eager to see what the first moves are going to be.
Yeah, it sounds exciting. So let's turn our attention then to Sunday, a game and a fixture that Villa fans have sort of had a lot of trauma in. I mean, we can go back to December, and that was traumatic in itself. But Unai Emery's first game last season was against United, and we haven't beat it for over 20 years, and he managed to set that one straight, so that was good. But how are you feeling going into it then at Villa Park? Like I said earlier, it is a big game. It's a big game for both teams, and I think it's kind of season defining, really. I mean, if Villa were to win it, then, like I say, we put that big gap between you guys. So what do you expect from that game?
It's tough. I honestly don't know what to go in expecting. If you would have asked me a few weeks ago, I would have said I expect us to get beat, like definitely get beat. But now we've had a few good results, and we've been playing some good football. I'm going into it with a lot more optimism than when I was. To be fair, when Unai Emery came in and first beat us, we had just come off the back of a European game, and we didn't have Bruno. There was a few things that kind of put us how would I describe it? Like negatively impacted us on that game, but you still beat us fair and square, so fair enough. And then obviously at Old Trafford, I think we deserved to win.
Oh yeah,
but
definitely.
It was a close call. Like, we let in two shocking goals, and then we deserved to win the game. But again, Villa this season, predominantly, even though you just had a huge win at Sheffield United, usually are. I mean, Villa Park's like a fortress, and then away from home, that's where you kind of have had some little slip up. So at Old Trafford, I did expect us to give you a game, and especially with that high line you played, coming away with a win was a good result for us. But going in at Villa Park, it's a different kettle of fish. Like you said, the atmosphere is going to be great. It's a season-defining game. It's a 6-pointer. It's a double header. Both teams realistically need to go in there with the mindset that they have to win this game. I think Man United have to win it more than what Villa do. In the sense of, I think Villa are obviously in a really good position already. You want to obviously make the gap bigger, but you're in a good position. If Man United lose, like, I don't think there's genuinely a chance. Like, we've still got a little bit of a chance if we we've got quite a big chance if we win this game. It's like you said, it's a proper 6-pointer double header. But I'm going to be honest. I know I'm coming on a Villa channel, and it might completely backfire on me. I actually fancy us, on Sunday.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I feel like don't ask me why, because I've been so negative recently, but I think the vibe's just feeling a lot better around Manchester United. We've got most of our key players back. Not having Martinez will, of course, be a miss, but I think we'll go into this confident. Højlund's now firing. Garnacho's doing really well. Kobbie Mainoo's been a revelation. There seems to be a bit of a buzz around us that we've had missing all season. So we'll see. We do have a Nana in that, so you've got every chance as possible.
To be fair, though, you've got
a way that you could batter us, but we'll see.
You've got us to thank about Højlund as well, because whenever a player has never scored a goal, when they play Villa, they always score. So he scored his first goal against Villa on Boxing Day. So I think you can thank us for him starting to fire. So yeah, it's gonna be a close game. I think you're right in what you were saying about Villa. I think if you offered me a draw, I think a draw would I'd probably take a draw. I think that would be a good result, because it doesn't really change the picture too much. But you know, you are in form, you are playing a lot better. You look sort of like it's all clicked now, and it's firing a little bit. You've got Maine who sort of, scored against Wolves, and when those little moments and you get on a bit of momentum. And what I would say about your season is, you might have been inconsistent, but now's the right time to hit form towards the back end of the season. And it's going to be close, but
the only thing is our away record, especially against the top half of the table, is absolutely terrible. Away from home against the top half of the table, we are terrible. The only thing gives me again a bit of hope is I think Wolves are actually doing really well this season. I mean, they've just beat Chelsea 4-2, and they're having a good season to Gary O'Neill. And we actually put in a good away performance against them. The 4-3 didn't reflect what the game was, but that's the only thing that gives me a bit of hope. But and plus your high line that you play, it really does complement our forward players in Hoyland, Garnacho and Rashford. So it'll be an interesting one. I really do rate Unai Emery as a manager, and I must say you're having a fantastic season.
Thanks, Beth. Cheers. Right, so that's the end of the episode then. Beth thinks that United are going to win, so...
Only just. It'll be a close one. What do you think?
Cool. It's a tough game. It's a tough game. Basically, we've got Chelsea in the FA Cup midweek, so we've got that to overcome first. And we lost to Newcastle, didn't we, at home last week? So we kind of need a bit of a reaction back at home, and I can't imagine us playing that bad at home again in the Premier League. So, reaction. If I had to pick a scoreline, I'd probably go 2-2. I think there'll be goals. Martinez out for you guys. He's a blow. So, got to semi-back us 2-2.
It's going to be a good game, I'm sure of that. So hopefully we'll see a high-scoring one, but we'll come out on top. But yeah, anyway.
Right, see you later, Beth. Right, thank
See
you
you
for coming on, Beth. It's great having you on. Cheers.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.